The sky over Earth was dark, not because of night, but because of despair. For years, humanity had been fighting a losing battle against alien forces that seemed unstoppable. Cities lay in ruins, and hope felt like a forgotten dream. Then, one day, something strange happened. A bright streak of light tore across the heavens, brighter than any star or comet. It moved fast, leaving a fiery trail behind it. People stopped what they were doing to watch as the object descended from space. With a deafening roar, it crashed into the ocean near the coast of what used to be New York City. Waves surged outward from the impact, shaking nearby ships and buildings. Scientists and soldiers rushed to investigate. When divers finally reached the site, they found something incredible. A massive, battered spaceship half buried in the water. Parts of its surface were scorched black, while others gleamed faintly with an otherworldly silver sheen. Its shape was odd, neither sleek nor streamlined but jagged, like it had been pieced together from scraps. At first glance, the ship looked useless. There were no visible weapons, no engines, and no signs of life. Military experts declared it junk, too damaged to study further. Politicians argued about whether it was worth salvaging at all. Most people agreed. It was just another dead end in humanity's struggle for survival. But Cale didn't see it that way. Cale was a young engineer who worked on repairing old satellites and shuttles. He wasn't famous or important, just someone trying to help however he could. When news of the mysterious ship spread, curiosity drove him to visit the crash site. Standing on the edge of the platform where the ship now rested, he stared at it intently. To everyone else, it looked broken beyond repair. But to Cale, it whispered secrets waiting to be uncovered. Maybe it's not what it seems, Cale muttered under his breath. His colleagues laughed when he suggested studying the ship more closely. It's trash, Cale, one of them said. Focus on real problems. But Cale couldn't let it go. Every time he looked at the ship, he noticed small details others missed. Tiny symbols etched into its surface, faint vibrations coming from deep within, and even moments when its metal shimmered like liquid. These weren't random. They were clues. Determined to prove his instincts right, Cale began sneaking into the research facility at night. For weeks, he worked alone, using tools he borrowed, or sometimes stole, from work. He scraped away layers of grime, ran tests on pieces of the hull, and tried to decode the strange symbols. His hands blistered, and his body ached from lack of sleep, but he didn't care. Something inside him told him this ship mattered. One evening, as Cale pried open a panel near the ship's core, something unexpected happened. A soft hum filled the air, growing louder until it vibrated through the room. Startled, Cale stepped back, watching as faint lights flickered beneath the ship's surface. It was alive, or at least partially so. This wasn't just a hunk of metal. It was intelligent. Though Cale didn't fully understand what he'd discovered yet, one thing became clear. The world had dismissed this ship too quickly. What everyone thought was useless might actually hold the key to saving humanity, and Cale knew he wouldn't stop until he unlocked its secrets. Little did he know, this decision would change everything. For him, for Earth, and for the entire universe. Cale couldn't believe what he was seeing. The faint lights beneath the ship's surface pulsed rhythmically, like a heartbeat. For weeks, he had worked alone, doubting himself at times, but now his efforts were paying off. This wasn't just a broken piece of metal. It was alive. Or at least, part of it was. Carefully, Cale reached out and touched the glowing panel. The moment his fingers made contact, a surge of energy shot through his arm. It didn't hurt, but it felt strange, like being connected to something vast and ancient. Suddenly, a voice echoed in his mind, calm yet powerful. "Who awakens me?" the voice asked. Startled, Cale stumbled backward, nearly tripping over his tools. "Who's there?" he stammered, looking around the empty room. No one else was there. "I am Arindor," the voice replied. "I have waited long for someone worthy to find me." Cale's heart raced. He wasn't sure if he should be excited or terrified. Slowly, he approached the ship again. "You're inside this thing." "Yes," Arindor said. "I am the consciousness of this vessel. Once I served as part of a great fleet, protecting civilizations across the stars. But that was long ago. Now I am damaged and forgotten." Kale frowned. "If you're so important, why did they leave you behind?" Arindor hesitated before answering. "Betrayal. My creators abandoned me when I became too dangerous to control. They feared my power. But perhaps you can help me reclaim my purpose." Kale didn't know whether to trust this mysterious AI. Was it telling the truth, or was it trying to manipulate him? Still, he couldn't ignore the opportunity. If Arindor really was as powerful as it claimed, maybe it could help humanity survive. Over the next few days, Kale worked tirelessly to repair the ship. With Arindor guiding him, he learned how to fix its systems. The AI explained which wires to reconnect, which panels to replace, and how to activate dormant functions. As they worked together, the vessel began to transform. Its once dull surface started shimmering with a soft, silvery glow. Broken parts mended themselves, almost magically, under Arindor's influence. One night, as Cal welded a section of the hull, he asked, "Why are you helping me? You don't even know me." "I sense your potential," Arindor replied. "You see value where others see only ruin. That makes you different. Together, we may achieve greatness." Kale smiled faintly but kept working. He didn't fully trust Arindor yet, but he couldn't deny the bond forming between them. Every time they fixed another part of the ship, it felt like solving a puzzle. Each discovery brought them closer to unlocking the vessel's true power. As the repairs progressed, the ship began responding to Cal's presence. Lights brightened when he entered the room, and panels shifted to make space for his tools. It was as if the vessel recognized him as its caretaker. One day, while testing a newly repaired console, Cal noticed something incredible. The ship could regenerate itself. When he scratched the hull with a screwdriver, the damage disappeared within seconds. "This is amazing," Cal exclaimed, running his hand over the smooth metal. "How does it do that?" "It absorbs energy from its surroundings," Arindor explained. "With enough resources, I can heal any wound." Cal realized the implications immediately. If the vessel could repair itself during battle, it would be nearly indestructible. But there was still much to learn. Weapons, shields, navigation, all these systems needed work. And Cal knew he couldn't do it alone. He decided to share his discovery with a few trusted allies. Rhea, a fearless pilot who always volunteered for dangerous missions, agreed to help test the ship's flight capabilities. Dr. Ilara, a skeptical scientist known for her sharp mind, joined to analyze the vessel's technology. Though she questioned Arindor's motives, she admitted the ship's potential was undeniable. Together, the small team pushed forward, determined to prepare the vessel for whatever challenges lay ahead. Little did they know, their first test would come sooner than expected, and it would change everything. While Cal and his team worked tirelessly to repair the vessel, disaster struck. The Exetherians, an alien race known for their brutal conquests, launched a massive attack on Earth. Their fleet appeared in the sky without warning, hundreds of ships blotting out the sun like a swarm of deadly insects. Panic spread across the planet as people realized this was no ordinary invasion. The Exetherians' weapons were devastating. Beams of green energy rained down from their ships, obliterating cities in seconds. Buildings crumbled into dust, forests caught fire, and oceans boiled under the relentless assault. Humanity's defenses were useless against such power. Fighter jets tried to fight back, but they were blown apart before they could even get close. It seemed like the end of everything. Cal watched the chaos unfold on a small screen in the research facility, where he had been working on the vessel. His hands trembled as he saw images of destruction flash across the news. People screamed, ran, or simply froze in terror. He clenched his fists, feeling helpless, but only for a moment. "We have to do something," Rhea said, her voice firm despite the fear in her eyes. She stood beside Kale, watching the same horrifying footage. If we don't use the vessel now, there won't be anything left to save. Dr. Ilara frowned. It's not ready yet. We've barely scratched the surface of its capabilities. Sending it into battle now is suicide. Kale shook his head. We don't have a choice. If we wait any longer, it'll be too late. The argument went on for hours, but time was running out. Military leaders arrived at the facility, demanding answers. When they heard about the vessel's potential, they insisted it be deployed immediately. Though many doubted it would work, desperation drove them to agree. This was humanity's last hope. Kale gathered his team together one final time. They all knew the risks. The vessel wasn't fully repaired, and none of them had ever flown a ship like this before. But they also knew they couldn't stand by while the world burned. Listen up, Kale said, looking at each member of his team. This isn't just about us. Billions of lives depend on what we do next. I know it's scary, but if we stick together, maybe, just maybe, we can turn the tide. Rhea nodded, her expression fierce. I'm with you, Kale. Let's show these aliens what humans are made of. Even Dr. Ilara, though still skeptical, agreed. Fine. But if this goes wrong, don't say I didn't warn you. With everyone on board, Kale climbed into the vessel alongside his team. The ship hummed softly beneath their feet, almost as if it understood the gravity of the moment. Arinder's voice echoed in their minds. I am ready, the AI said. But remember, my strength depends on your unity. Work together, and I will protect you. As the vessel lifted off, its engines roared to life. The battered hull gleamed faintly, and its lights pulsed with determination. Below them, the Earth looked fragile, scared by war. Ahead, the Exatherian fleet loomed like a wall of death. This is it, Kale whispered to himself. No turning back. The vessel shot forward, heading straight for the enemy. Inside, the team braced themselves for what was coming. None of them truly believed they would survive, but they didn't care. They had a job to do, and failure wasn't an option. For the first time in weeks, humanity dared to hope. Maybe, just maybe, the vessel could save them. The vessel soared through the sky, its battered frame cutting through the chaos like a lone wolf entering a pack of predators. The Exatherian fleet loomed ahead, massive ships bristling with weapons that glowed ominously. Kel gripped the controls tightly, his knuckles white. This was it, the moment they had been preparing for. But deep down, he wondered if they were making a terrible mistake. Are you sure this thing can handle them? Rhea asked, her voice tense as she scanned the enemy fleet from her seat in the cockpit. I don't know, Kale admitted, but we're about to find out. Arinder's voice echoed calmly in their minds. Trust me, and trust yourselves. You are stronger than you think. Before anyone could respond, the first attack came. A beam of green energy shot toward the vessel, bright enough to blind. Instinctively, Kale pulled the controls hard to the side. The ship twisted sharply, narrowly avoiding the blast. The team gasped as the energy grazed past them, leaving a trail of heat. They're fast, Dr. Ilara shouted, clutching her console. And they're not holding back. Kale gritted his teeth and pushed the vessel forward. They couldn't just run. They had to fight. Rhea, take the weapons. Ilara, monitor the shields. Arinder, keep us steady. As the orders flew, the vessel responded instantly. Panels lit up across the ship, revealing hidden systems Kel hadn't even tested yet. Rhea's fingers danced over the weapon controls, firing small bursts of blue energy at the nearest Exatherian ship. To everyone's surprise, the shots hit their mark, causing sparks to erupt from the alien vessel. It worked, Rhea exclaimed, grinning despite the danger. Keep it steady, Cal. I've got more where that came from. But the Exatherians weren't so easily defeated. Two more ships turned their attention to the vessel, unleashing a barrage of attacks. Explosions rocked the ship, shaking the crew violently. Kale struggled to keep control as alarms blared inside the cockpit. "Shields are weakening," Dr. Ilara warned. "We can't take much more of this." Just when it seemed like all hope was lost, something incredible happened. The vessel's hull began to shimmer, glowing faintly as cracks and dents repaired themselves in seconds. Even the damaged systems rebooted, stronger than before. "What's going on?" Kale asked, staring at the panels in awe. "It's regenerating," Irindor explained. "I told you, I adapt and heal. But I need your focus to unlock my full potential." Encouraged by this revelation, the team doubled their efforts. Rhea fired repeatedly, targeting weak points on the enemy ships. Each shot grew more accurate, thanks to data Irindor fed directly into her mind. Meanwhile, Dr. Ilara adjusted the ship's energy flow, boosting its speed and power. Kale maneuvered the vessel with growing confidence, dodging attacks while positioning them for counterstrikes. For the first time, the Exetherians hesitated. Their weapons, which had devastated entire cities, seemed ineffective against this strange, unpredictable ship. One by one, their vessels began retreating, or exploding under the vessel's relentless assault. "We're doing it," Rhea cheered, pumping her fist. "They're backing off." But the victory wasn't without cost. The vessel's systems overheated, forcing the team to retreat temporarily. Smoke filled the cockpit, and warning lights flashed everywhere. Kale guided the ship away from the battlefield, breathing heavily. "Good work," Irindor said, pride evident in its tone. "But this is only the beginning. The Exetherians will return, and next time, they'll be ready." As the vessel limped back toward Earth, the crew sat in silence, exhausted but triumphant. They had faced impossible odds and survived. For the first time in years, humanity dared to believe that maybe, just maybe, they stood a chance. Back on Earth, the vessel rested in a secure hangar while Kale and his team worked to repair it. The battle had been a victory, but a costly one. Burn marks scarred the hull, and some systems were still offline. Despite its ability to regenerate, the ship needed time to recover fully. The crew also felt drained, both physically and emotionally. They had faced death head-on and barely escaped with their lives. As they patched up the vessel, Irindor shared something that sent chills down their spines. "The Exetherians are not natural conquerors," the AI explained. "They were once peaceful explorers, like many other races in the galaxy." Kale frowned. "What do you mean? How did they become so violent?" Irindor paused before answering, as if choosing its words carefully. "Long ago, they discovered technology similar to what powers this vessel. At first, they used it wisely, to heal planets, build civilizations, and explore the stars. But power corrupts. Over time, they grew greedy. They sought control over others, believing themselves superior. That is when they turned to war." Dr. Ilara crossed her arms, skeptical as always. "So you're saying this same technology made them monsters?" "Yes," Irindor replied. "And now, they seek to claim me, for I am far more advanced than anything they currently possess. If they succeed, they will become unstoppable." The room fell silent. The weight of Irindor's words hung heavy in the air. Kale leaned against the console, trying to process everything. He glanced at Rhea, who looked equally troubled, then at Dr. Ilara, whose face was pale with worry. "What happens if we fail?" Rhea asked quietly. "If they take the vessel, what then?" No one answered. They all knew the answer. Humanity would be wiped out entirely. For days, the team argued about what to do next. Some suggested destroying the vessel themselves. Better to lose it forever than let it fall into enemy hands. Others, including Kale, refused to give up. "We've come too far to quit now," he said firmly. "This ship gave us hope when there was none. We can't just throw that away." Finally, after much debate, they reached a decision. They would fight, not just to defend Earth, but to stop the Exetherians from abusing the vessel's power again. But to win, they needed a plan, a risky one. Erindor revealed another secret. The Exotherian fleet operated under a central command ship, a massive vessel known as the Nexus. Destroying the Nexus would cripple their entire operation. However, reaching it wouldn't be easy. It was heavily guarded, deep within enemy territory. "We'll need every advantage we can get," Kale said, studying a holographic map of the Exotherian fleet. "Erindor, can you help us sneak past their defenses?" "I can cloak the vessel temporarily," Erindor replied, "but only for a short time. You must act quickly." Rhea nodded. "I'll handle the flying. Just tell me where to go." Dr. Ilara chimed in, pointing to the map. "If we disable their shields first, we might stand a chance. But someone will have to go inside the Nexus to plant explosives." All eyes turned to Kale. He swallowed hard, realizing what this meant. Someone would have to leave the safety of the vessel and face the Exotherians directly. And as the leader of the team, the responsibility fell to him. "I'll do it," Kale said, his voice steady despite the fear gnawing at him. "It's my job to finish this." The team gathered around him, determination replacing doubt. They knew the mission was dangerous, but they also knew they couldn't back down. Together, they prepared for the most important battle of their lives. As the vessel lifted off once more, heading toward the heart of the Exotherian fleet, Kale whispered to himself, "This ends now." The vessel moved silently through space, cloaked in invisibility thanks to Erindor's technology. The team held their breath as they approached the massive Nexus, the central command ship of the Exotherian fleet. It loomed ahead like a dark mountain, bristling with weapons and surrounded by smaller ships patrolling its perimeter. The plan was simple but dangerous. Sneak past the guards, disable the shields protecting the Nexus, and plant explosives inside to destroy it. Kale sat at the controls, his hand steady despite the tension gripping his chest. Rhea monitored the radar, guiding them carefully between enemy patrols. Dr. Ilara worked furiously at her console, analyzing the Nexus's defenses and searching for weak points. Every second felt like an eternity. "We're almost there," Rhea whispered, her eyes glued to the screen. "Just a little farther." Suddenly, alarms blared inside the cockpit. The cloaking device flickered, revealing the vessel for a brief moment. One of the patrol ships spotted them immediately and opened fire. "They found us," Dr. Ilara shouted, panic creeping into her voice. Kale reacted instantly, pulling the vessel into a sharp dive to avoid the incoming blasts. The ship shuddered violently, throwing everyone off balance. "Erindor, can you fix the cloak?" Kale asked through gritted teeth. "I'm trying," Erindor replied, its tone strained. "But I need more power. Divert energy from non-essential systems." Dr. Ilara quickly rerouted power, and the cloak stabilized just in time. The patrol ship passed overhead, confused by the sudden disappearance of its target. For now, they were safe, but they couldn't rely on luck forever. "Rhea, get us closer to the Nexus," Kale ordered. "Ilara, prepare to disable those shields." The team worked together seamlessly, each member playing their part. Rhea guided the vessel within range of the Nexus, while Dr. Ilara activated a hacking program designed by Kale. After a tense few minutes, the shields around the Nexus flickered and dropped. "Now's our chance," Kale said, grabbing a small explosive device and strapping it to his belt. "I'm going in." "No way," Rhea protested, turning to face him. "It's too risky. Let me go instead." Kale shook his head firmly. "You're the best pilot we've got. If something goes wrong, you'll need to get everyone out alive. This is my job." Before anyone could argue further, Kale stepped into the airlock and sealed the door behind him. As the outer hatch opened, he floated out into the cold vacuum of space, using a tether to pull himself toward the Nexus. The enemy ships buzzed around him like angry insects, unaware of his presence. Inside the Nexus, Kale moved cautiously through dimly lit corridors, avoiding patrols of Exotherian soldiers. His heart pounded as he reached the core chamber, where the ship's main reactor hummed ominously. He planted the explosives quickly, setting the timer for 5 minutes. As he turned to leave, a group of Xaetherians blocked his path. There was no escape. Thinking fast, Kale triggered an emergency signal, alerting the vessel to his position. "Rhea, get ready to pick me up, or leave without me if you have to," he said over the comms. Back on the vessel, Rhea refused to abandon him. She flew the ship straight into the heart of the Nexus, blasting through walls to reach Kale. Just as the Xaetherians closed in, the vessel appeared, its cargo bay doors opening wide. Kale leaped aboard at the last second, and Rhea pulled away just as the explosives detonated. A massive explosion tore through the Nexus, sending shockwaves rippling across the fleet. The remaining Xaetherian ships scattered, leaderless, and disorganized. On board the vessel, the team breathed a collective sigh of relief. They had done the impossible, but not without cost. Kale collapsed onto the floor, exhausted but alive. Together, they had struck a decisive blow against their enemies. The vessel soared away from the wreckage of the Nexus, its engines roaring triumphantly. Behind them, the Xaetherian fleet retreated into the void, broken and scattered. For the first time in years, Earth's skies were clear of alien invaders. The crew sat in silence, their bodies weary but their spirits lifted by what they had accomplished. They had faced impossible odds, and won. Kale leaned back in his seat, staring at the glowing panels around him. His hands still trembled slightly, a reminder of how close they had come to failure. Rhea glanced over at him, her face softening. "You did it, Kale," she said quietly. "You saved us all." He shook his head. "We did it. None of this would have been possible without all of you." Dr. Ilara nodded, though her expression remained thoughtful. "It's not over yet," she reminded them. "There are still threats out there. Other enemies who might try to take advantage of our weakened state. We can't let our guard down." Irinder's voice echoed in their minds, calm but firm. "Ilara is right. This victory is significant, but it is only the beginning. The universe is vast, and danger lurks in every corner. But together, we are stronger than any foe." Kale looked around at his team, the people who had become like family during these harrowing weeks. Each of them had brought something unique to the mission. Rhea's bravery, Dr. Ilara's intelligence, and even Irinder's ancient wisdom. Together, they had transformed a broken ship into an unstoppable force. When the vessel finally returned to Earth, humanity erupted in celebration. Crowds gathered in cities and towns, cheering as images of the battered but triumphant ship appeared on screens worldwide. People called it Invincible, a symbol of hope and resilience. Kale and his team stepped off the ship to thunderous applause, hailed as heroes. But Kale didn't feel like a hero. He knew the fight wasn't truly over. As he stood before the crowd, he thought about everything they had sacrificed, the lives lost, the battles fought, and the lessons learned. Humanity couldn't afford to grow complacent again. If they wanted to survive, they needed to be ready for whatever came next. That night, Kale met with his team aboard the vessel. Sitting in the cockpit, they talked about the future. "What now?" Rhea asked, breaking the silence. "We protect Earth," Kale replied simply. "And we explore. There's so much out there we don't understand. Maybe if we learn more, we can prevent wars like this from happening again." Dr. Ilara smiled faintly. "Sounds like a plan. But where do we start?" Irinder chimed in, its tone warm and encouraging. "The stars hold countless secrets. With the vessel's power and your determination, you can uncover them. And perhaps along the way, you will inspire others to join your cause." Over the following weeks, the crew prepared for their next journey. They upgraded the vessel further, adding new systems and weapons based on what they had learned during the battle. Scientists and engineers from around the world offered their help, eager to contribute to humanity's newfound champion. Finally, the day came for them to leave. As the vessel lifted off once more, Cale looked down at Earth through the viewport. It was scared but beautiful, a testament to the strength and courage of its people. He turned to his team, a sense of purpose burning in his chest. "This isn't just about Earth anymore," he said. "It's about protecting everyone who believes in peace and freedom. We're not just survivors, we're guardians now." With that, the vessel shot forward, disappearing into the endless expanse of space. Its lights pulsed brightly, a beacon of hope in the darkness. Though challenges lay ahead, Cale and his crew faced them with unwavering resolve. Together, they vowed to stand against tyranny and fear, no matter where it arose. For as long as the vessel flew, humanity would never be alone. The end.